Hey guys, Jason Gooden here. The latest monthly mortgage market reports have come out today, and I've spent the last few hours going through them in detail. I pulled out a few slides that I want to share with you. I think they're really interesting, and they help us to understand what's going on in the market of real estate today. So we'll jump right into the slides that I pulled out for you guys, and we're going to start talking about why the heck are mortgage rates so high, and when are they going back down? Well, obviously, no one can necessarily predict when they're going to go back down, but we can look at what we should expect given history. So this is a graph of the last 50 years. And what it shows is that the 30-year fixed rate mortgage has always moved in unison with the 10-year treasury yield. You can see the 10 years in blue, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage rate is in green. And for 50 years, they've always moved together. And the average distance between those two lines is 1.72%. And so they call that the spread, the distance between those two lines. And that's a percentage of interest that the banks charge for lending money on behalf of, buyers, to buyers in order to buy houses. And so what's happened recently, though, unfortunately, is the spread has grown exponentially. And so this chart goes back to January of this year, 23. And you can see the spread in January was 2.7%. And you can see the spread today is 3.2%. And so the distance then between that blue line and that green line have gotten a lot wider. That gap has gotten bigger, which is what's causing interest rates to be so high. So today's 10-year treasury is 3.69%. But when you add the spread on top of that, we see interest rates at 6.9%, which is driving buyers crazy today. They just can't see themselves paying 6.9% when a year ago they could have paid 3.5% or 4% for that same mortgage. And so let's take a closer look into that, though. Here's the chart going back 50 years, again, back to 1971. And you can see, fortunately, these high spreads don't tend to last that long. So what this shows is that only 3 times in our last 50-year history has the spread exceeded 3% for any amount of time at all. And so you can see where they're circled here, back in the 80s, back in the mid-80s, and then back in 2008, 2009. We're all familiar with what happened in the housing crash of 2008, 2009. And so, again, that spread touched that 3%. And, of course, we're there back again. So 3.2% today is the current spread. Fortunately, they don't expect it to last too long, and that's what it looks like, looking at this chart. While it does push up occasionally, it doesn't last very long. So the anticipation is that, the spread will begin to normalize and rates will come back down as a result, much more in line with the 10-year treasury. And so this graph shows the 3.65 current 10-year treasury yield and the spread on top of that. So if we had a normal 1.72% spread, then we would have an interest rate of 5.3 today. That would be really exciting, right? But we don't. We have a spread of 3.2% today, which gives us an interest rate of 6.8, 6.9, which is, what's scaring the hell out of today's buyers. So even if we had a spread of 2.25%, that would give us an interest rate below 6, and that would be an exciting place to be. I think people could get used to the idea of something less than 6%. I think that would be good for all of us as home buyers, home sellers, and real estate agents who live or make a living in this market. So the consensus seems to be, looking at these graphs from Case-Shiller, FHFA, and CoreLogic, that the market has turned. And so while we saw, mid-2022, we saw the market kind of dip off, we saw interest rates are going up, and we saw the market slow down as a whole. What this shows is that average prices, home sale prices, were doing pretty good until July. And that's when we started to see some depreciation or some home price devaluation, and prices started to drop a little bit. The good news is all of these major institutions who track this data month over month agree that we've now turned the corner. And so you can see all of the institutions here have us moving back in the right direction. So home prices are starting to trend back up again, right? And so I love seeing the consensus here that, everybody seems to agree that the slump or the decline in home prices seems to have ended. And so I think that, again, is another real positive for us. So here's a good look at, the pandemic years. And so in these graphs, we're going to refer to them as the unicorn years because they were such an anomaly. They were so unusual. They were what we saw in 2021 in the real estate market has never, ever, ever happened before, right? And so we're going to refer to those years then as the unicorn years. And so some people are saying, oh my gosh, the home price appreciation is just fallen off of a cliff. It's only 5% compared to last year. But last year was a unicorn year, right? 2021, that was unicorn years. And so they were so unusual and so unexpected, really, considering there was a national pandemic, that it's almost unfair to compare today to those years. So what this chart does is it goes back to 2017 and it shows what the home price appreciation was pre-unicorn years. And so you can see 2017, 2018, 2019, 7.54%. And in 2022, we saw 5% home appreciation, which is much more in line with what we would expect in a normal, quote unquote, normal real estate market. And I think it's really important to compare today to what's normal, not to what happened during the unicorn years. So here's another graph that shows the pending listings. And so, yeah, people are saying today that pending listings are way down. But compared to what, right? Compared to 21, 22, yeah, it's down. But compared to 17, 18, 19, 20, what were otherwise good years in real estate, we're right where we should be. So pending listings, 460,000 nationally in May. And each one of these bars represents the month of May in that correlating year. I think we're right where we're supposed to be. This looks normal compared to if you take out the unicorn years. And showing traffic. This one was really interesting to me because we keep hearing so much about how showings are down, showings are down, showings are down. But again, compared to what? Compared to 21, 22, yeah, showings are down. But actually, compared to 17, 18, 19, 20, showings are way, way up. And so I've got another chart here. So you're probably familiar with this one. This one comes out every month, and it's given to us by Showing Time. Showing Time just came out with this today, and they say showings are down 14% year over year in our region, our southern region here. But the truth is, showings are actually up compared to 17, 18, 19, and 20. What Showing Time is doing is showing you that we're down compared to 21, 22, unicorn years, right? So I thought that was really interesting differentiation to make there between those two charts. The truth is, showings are way higher than they were pre-pandemic. So, median days on market. This is another really interesting graph to consider because this isn't what you would expect, because what they're saying is that homes are taking longer to sell, and while they are, only compared to the unicorn years of 21, 22, right? So today's median days on market is 43, where historically 17, 18, 19, 20 in a normal real estate market, it took a lot longer. So we're technically selling homes faster today than we did pre-pandemic. So yeah, pandemic, unicorn years, homes were moving a lot faster. But that was such an anomaly that we shouldn't compare that to today and call it an unusual circumstance. So homes for sale, this is where we're having some issues, right? I feel like we're still very, very short on inventory. And so this is a look back at, the last 5 years, going back to 2017, and how many homes were actually on the market in the month of May for each one of these preceding years. And you can see right now we have 582,000 homes available on the market, while during the pandemic, we only had 450 to 480,000 homes available for sale. So this is where we could still use some help. We need more people to list their homes, get that inventory numbers up, and I think we'll find more buyers in the market to buy. So, but still very interesting to look. 582,000 now is more inventory than we had during the pandemic, which were two of the highest home sales years in our history. So, months of inventory. Again, going back to pre-pandemic, we averaged about 4 months of inventory. Still a seller's market, still a good seller's market for most sellers, but we averaged about 4, and today we're at 2.9 months inventory nationally. Here in Hampton Roads, we're at about a 1.5 month supply of inventory. So 1.5 months is just not enough homes on the market for sale. You can see during the pandemic, we were back down around 2.2, 2.3 months supply of inventory. And fewer foreclosures, right? So if you guys remember all the headlines and all the naysayers talking about this impending foreclosure crisis, it doesn't look like that's going to come to fruition. Yes, there was a moratorium on foreclosures in 2021, and so it's normal for those numbers to be really, really low. But even pre-pandemic, 2017, 18, 19, we averaged 596,000 foreclosures a year in each one of those years. Average 596,000 foreclosures a year. And you can see in the whole year of 2022, we only had 324,000 foreclosures. And this year, we're right in line with that normal expectation. So there's nothing unusual happening with respect to the number of foreclosures that we're seeing. So I thought that was really interesting as well. It doesn't look like any of the experts in this industry expect a foreclosure, tsunami. So we're not expecting that ghost inventory to hit the market anytime soon if it exists. So this is also interesting. So this is a survey, or this is a poll of people who were thinking about selling their house within the next 6 months. And what it's decided is that 65% of those people who were thinking, quote unquote, thinking about selling, decided to go ahead and move forward with the listing of the property after they spoke to a real estate agent. So I think this is just a good reminder that conversations equal commissions, and you want to be out there having those conversations, talking to people about selling, especially those people who have had thoughts of selling, because there's a 65% chance that they will decide to do so if they talk to a real estate agent, it can help them understand the market and what interest rates are doing. And the good news is, you could buy a house today. You might be locked in at a 6.5, 6.7, 6.9% interest rate. But because we don't expect it to last that long, right? Like we see here, they can refinance that thing in 6 months or a year when interest rates have come back down to what is, we hope, much more realistic, much more in line with a normal spread between the 30-year fixed and the 10-year treasury. So, all right, gang, I thought this was really interesting information. I hope it's helpful to you guys. I hope it gives you a little better understanding with respect to what's going on in the mortgage interest market. So, as usual, if I can do anything for you, don't hesitate to reach out. Call me, text me, email me. I'm always here, always available, and always happy to help. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey, thank you for watching my video. I hope that I was able to answer a question or two for you. If you'd like to get more information, I offer a free, regularly updated buyer and seller guide. Everything you need to know about the buying and or selling process. Feel free to look for the link down below in the description. It'll say free guide, and I'm happy to send that to you in a PDF form. Talk soon. Thank you for watching.